Well, hello, fam. How are we doing today? Welcome, everybody. Welcome to another Wednesday Bible Talk episode number 34. And I am super excited because today we got a special one. I'm about to bring the guys in, and you guys are going to be in for a treat. But before that, just letting you all know we're about to jump into a really cool series. It's going to be a little bit of a long one, and that's okay. It's going to be fun. We're going to be talking about friendships. You can see it on the title. And so, having said that, I would like for you guys to meet my friends. Yay! Howdy, guys. Welcome. What a great face. My dude, the one and only John's Fumbly. He is so happy that I introduced him that way. Everybody can tell. How you doing, my dude? How you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great. I can't believe we've sat down and done this 33 times.
Uh, why are you telling them how this goes, dude?
I'm just saying, I'm surprised. Like it's unbelievable. It feels like we haven't done this 33 times. It feels like we've done this like
We
three
just started.
times.
Yeah, do you think so?
Yeah,
That's pretty
100%.
impressive, right? This is chapter 34 today. This is unbelievable. Glad to have you yet back another time, Mr. Jones family. Got you still my friend. I'm
Of
proud
course.
to say so myself. And welcome.
I think you're one of my
Up,
closest online friends.
yeah,
So
I gotta be, dude. Gotta be. Coming back yet another week. The co-star of the show, obviously the one and only, also a really great friend of mine,
mm.
Mr. Adrian Idolos. What's up, AI? How are you doing, baby?
What's up? What's up? I'm still waiting for you to put sound effects in, and that way I can get like my air horn every time you introduce me in. Thank you,
So,
thank you.
so
That's
listen,
it.
ever since we changed software, I've never tried on this software, and I don't think it works for this particular stuff. I would have to like download the
Lame,
videos.
lame.
Boo.
See, this would be a good
sucker.
time to have a booing sound effect.
Boo. Well, you
Yeah,
can
it
do it
would.
yourself. Boo.
Boo.
And guys, here for the first time, invited by me, by the one and only. I got a really close friend of mine, one of my closest friends, actually one of my best friends, the one and only Pepe Ceballos. He is from Mexico, and we
Right.
went to school together. We hanged out a lot. We play soccer. We cheer on the devil team of Toluca, which is a very Christian way to cheer, I think. And I don't know, the one of my bestest of friends, Pepe. How are you doing, Pepe?
Hi everybody. I'm so excited to be here with you guys and with all the your community. It's a pleasure to me to be part of this chapter
Uh,
34.
34, yes, sir.
Yeah.
Your first episode of Bible Talk, dude. Chapter 34. How about that? See, next time that you go and play soccer, you gotta put 34 on your back. It's your number forever.
Okay. I'm gonna
That's a
I'm gonna
pretty
be
high up
good.
number. I feel like Pepe is better than number 34 on the team.
Well, but it's
Leader.
also
Come
like,
on now.
yeah, but man, think about it this way. It's also like one of those that you never think about, right? So they're like, that guy's gotta suck. And then little do they know, right?
Now, if anything, it should be 23, right? You put LeBron, you put Michael Jordan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yo, we're talking about soccer.
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody wears 23 in soccer. You have to choose 9, 7, right?
I
10.
always use
Oh, so
the
you're making
number
him pick number 34. Okay,
Yes.
that makes sense.
Well, Pepe, welcome, man. I'm so happy to have you, man. I missed you. How you been?
fine. I am on my house because in Mexico the COVID is so right now. So I
Mhm.
have to be in my house all the day and all the weekend, and I'm not really happy with that situation, but I'm okay. So
Good. Good.
I
Is
am
everybody
trying new
healthy?
things. Yeah, I'm healthy. My family are healthy too.
Okay,
So,
good.
but
Very good.
I'm trying new things, and this streaming is one of those.
There
One
you
of
go.
those.
See, good. Okay, tell me, what other new thing have you tried since you've been at home?
That's the first time.
There's the first one. There's the first one of
Yeah.
many coming. Okay, good. Good. I like it. Okay, so guys, welcome everybody. I can see Google's here already. Yo, what's up, Google, man? Hook 'em, baby.
That's so cool.
Welcome. Chat, say hi, please. Drop a hi. Tell me how you're doing today, chat. And you know the drill. We started the stream by talking about good news. So why don't y'all type in right now, some really good news that you'd like to share with us. Let us know what's good, man. In a world that is crumbling down, we want to hear good news. So I'm gonna start with my boys here real quick. Mr. AI, hit me with some good news, man. Slap me on the face. Bah, bah, bah. Good news, man. Yes, sir.
So I told you guys last week that I started a new book, well, technically an audiobook, right? Called No More Excuses by Tony Evans. You know,
Mhm.
this isn't a promotion, like I'm not getting paid to say this or whatever. But
Show it
I
again.
have
Show it again.
Okay, so it's right
Thank you.
here. No More
Mhm.
Excuses. Tony Evans. He's a pastor here in North Dallas or in North Texas, and it's basically the subtitle is "Be the Man God Made You to Be." It was given to me by my wonderful girlfriend's mother, and so it's been really good. Her dad goes to his seminars like once a year, and so far I have not been able to stop. You know, I would say like reading it, but I'm listening to it because I got a new job driving around doing deliveries and stuff. So I've been doing a lot more audiobook stuff. And man, like I've already listened to like 4 hours worth, and the narrator narrates very slowly. So but either way, it's really awesome because it takes the male figures in the Bible like David, Moses, and who else have we covered? Joseph, right? We talk about all those male leaders, and we talk about not just their accomplishments and what makes them men, but also like it talks about like their sin and how that relates to today's modern, right? Because we you know, this is Bible talk, and one of the things that we talked about in episode some small number ago, right? That the Bible is timeless, right? So it doesn't matter if you're reading it, you know, when it was written, or in the 15th century, or even today. Like the Bible is timeless, and so to take these stories from the Old Testament and apply it to what it means to be a man in today's world is so far it has been, it's been enlightening, and I've already had like 2 like praise God moments where I'm just like listening to it and it just hits me like a ton of bricks, and I'm like, man, like that's good stuff. Like praise God, like praise God. So
There you go, dude.
it's that's really awesome. And then the second thing is really short. I've been archiving a bunch of the photos and videos that I did last year, and here I was like being kind of like depressed, like, oh man, like 2020 was a really rough year or whatever. And I was like, man, like as I'm archiving everything, I'm like, man, I actually did a lot for a pandemic. So I was very blessed and very grateful as I was archiving everything that I didn't have as bad of a year as I thought I did.
There
So
you go. Let's go, bro.
yeah.
Good, John. I'm gonna go to you. Putting on the screen a good news from Mr. Google. Right, he goes,
Hey.
"Hey, my grandmother doesn't have COVID anymore. That's super positive. Let's
Hey,
go, bro.
That is
Let's
praise
awesome.
Jesus.
go."
Woo!
All right, John's
Pastor,
family, hit me
Pastor.
with some good news, man. Travis says hi, by the way. Travis, we can't wait to hear your good news, baby. So just letting us know, or let us know.
Good news. So the youth group, I'm one of the youth leaders, like you said earlier, and we have a Discord that we run, and we have some new systems that we implemented. Super excited for them. We're gonna like announce them tomorrow to our Discord, but it's just really good. I'm super excited for it. So
Let's go, dude. Short and sweet, short and sweet. Pepe, man, give us some good news, man. Some good news that happened recently. Whatever kind of good news.
Well, I have been spend my more time with my wife, so
Woo.
that's good news for me.
That's
because
very
she
good.
works a lot,
And so do you. I know that.
Yeah. Because we are kind of workaholic, but we are changing that. But in this pandemic, we are together for more time. So that's nice for us. So I discover many things that I didn't know about her. So I'm so happy for that.
And you're somewhat newlyweds, right? How long have you been married for, Pepe?
For the same that you.
4 years, right?
Yeah,
by
4 years.
by 1 week, right? You
Yeah,
married.
the difference
Yes.
is 1 week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They married a week before we did. That's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
Cool, man. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing. Let's see. I kind of want to put this up. Travis always hits a good point here, guys. Listen, man, he's our prayer warrior, right? And so if you need any kind of prayer, man, hit him up, or not hit him up, or hit us up through Discord. The Discord link shows up on Twitch. And then in there's a prayer request channel. You can put your prayers in there. And also at the end of the show, we like to pray together, and Travis leads us in that prayer.
Mhm.
And we pray for each other, for one another. We chat for a little bit. It's a great time. So please don't miss out on that. Let's see what your good news is. My good news is that I'm alive today, and I got a chance to see my father for dinner last night, bro. Amen to that, dude. Some of the people are losing their parents during this time, Ryan. That's pretty rough. So I get that. Good news for me, man. It's I'm discovered pickleball a couple months ago, and holy cow, I am addicted. I've been having a blast, and I'm getting better every minute. I'm playing probably 3-4 times a week, and I'm playing a tournament with my brother-in-law, which I'm super excited to play with again. So hi, Kevin, if you're on, hopefully say hi back. My one partner in crime in doubles. So that's super exciting. It's coming up January 23rd, I think, or 24th, whatever Saturday. It's not this Saturday, but next. So it should be super. Yeah, 23rd. So it should be super exciting. So I don't know. That's kind of my good news. Awesome, guys. Well, thank you everybody for being here, guys. I'm gonna go real quick over the rules of the Bible Talk, because you guys know how we do here. If you're new, just listen, man. Number one, this is a space where us gather together to talk about the Bible. That's kind of what it is. This is no church. This is no none of that. This is just us and more of a podcast type of thing, talking about the Bible, which is something that we're very passionate about. And that's kind of it. What this is not a place to argue, discuss, or fight with one another, fight each other, and all this stuff. We don't like doing that. We ain't got no time for that. Not here by any means. But we love to hear your comments, your questions, your concerns. We love to talk about them. Last week was really great. We had a few of y'all were heavily participating, and we absolutely loved that. So hope that you guys are just as active as the people were last week. But just know that we're not going to argue with you. We're not going to fight you. Now, having said that, our Discord is a much better place there, especially with Mr. John's family. He loves to get into those some if you want to calm discussions, if you will. He's the one who would love to talk to you about those things. So feel free to hit him up there. Post your questions in Discord. We'll get to them. We'll DM them to you, or we'll answer them. Generally, it's a pretty safe place to be there. Now, just be respectful, please. It's a PG stream. It's a PG Discord, and we want to keep it that way. It's important to us. Okay? Are we ready, boys? Are we ready to do this? Are we excited?
Oh yeah,
'Cause
excitement.
we got a new series, right? And let's talk about friendship, man. This is cool. Okay, let's make sure I'm sharing my screen here. I am sharing my screen. Boy, would you look at that. Okie dokie. So I just opened up the application that we call, or that it's named Discord. My goodness. Discord, let's go. No, this is eSort, man. This is eSort, and it's a free app that you can download anywhere on your phone, and your iPad, and your computer. And what it does, and I always got to be a shout out to them because they do this for free. They give you many versions of the Bible that you can compare side by side, right? I got the American Standard Version, the basic English version, the King James Version. I got 2 Spanish versions. But most importantly to me is that I have the King James Version with the Strong's Dictionary, which allow us to dive into the original language to understand Hebrew, Greek, and Aramese, right? That's a big deal. That's what the Bible was written in. And sometimes in the English language, we kind of lose translation. So we love to go back and study it. I can also add notes, which you see them in the bottom right over here. References. It's pretty dope. So shout out to them. It's free. eSword, and their tagline is phenomenal. The sword of the Lord with an electronic edge is pretty dope. John, don't die on us. If you die,
Rona.
No, cool. You're trying though.
I already muted my mic.
Okay, good. All right, so let's get into our message today, you guys. I'm pulling up my notes over here because we got all kinds of notes over here, and we're talking about friendship. So let's dive deep. Dive deep onto what's up with or why is the need for a friendship to begin with. So John, are you ready, sir? Do we need to warm up our fingers or anything? Can you guide us in through okay, we're here. Okay, yeah, we follow. Okay, guys, are we following?
And then just
I
do
don't know
like a
what's
quick
doing.
little like rub right here, and then
A rub
pat
right here and a pat right here. I got it. Okay.
Yeah, you're warmed up. You're
Okay,
good.
warmed up, ready to roll. Okay,
Yep.
perfect. Thank you. Appreciate it. We're gonna go to Genesis chapter 2. We're gonna read specifically verse 18 because it's important, and then Adrian, you're gonna talk about a little bit about what's going on during this. But John, I want you to just read chapter 2, verse 18.
Yep.
Shoot,
All right.
man.
The Lord God said, "It is not good for the man to be alone. I will make a helper suitable for him."
That's pretty dope. AI, man, what's going on in this time of the Bible? What's happening? What's popping?
Well, at this time, God, aka Morgan Freeman, is looking at his new creation, Adam, and he is happy and excited, but is also like depressed and mopey because he has all this beautiful jungle and animals in the sky, in the earth, in the sea, and yet there's only him. Poor thing.
Oh man. So wait, hold on. Is this creation just happened or we're in the middle of it? Did it finish? Like what's the deal? Right? Because I think it's pretty important to understand that.
So like okay, so it's important to understand that there is no date in the Bible. There's no days or like months, calendars, whatever. And so it might only be like a chapter after the world and everything has just finished, but we don't know exactly, how old Adam is. We don't know like how long it's been since, God rested on the seventh day. And so it's just another day in paradise. But yes, to answer your question, like creation has been finished, earth, heaven, plants, animals, all that stuff is done. God's chilling, Adam's chilling. But Adam's like, hey, like, I'm kind of bored, don't know what to do. Like, I'm here doing my thing, but I'm by myself. There's no one to talk to. It's like, I'm all alone. There's no one beside me.
All right, Pepe, I'm gonna bring you into this. So listen, man. We both know, right? We all know that creation happened, right? And then Eve was created, and then the both of them sinned, right? Everybody knows the story about the apple and all this stuff. What really impresses me, and I kind of want to hear your thoughts on this, Pepe, is God understanding that even before sin happened, how important or how big of a deal was to be alone, right? Sin was not in the world yet. Adam was not sinning, but yet there was a big negative connotation to being alone. That was a problem. So I kind of want to hear your thoughts on why did. Okay.
Okay,
I'm
that's
gonna
enough of that.
I'm gonna
I don't wanna
get
get
a
censored. I don't wanna get
DMCA,
censored
bro.
for that. It was under 5 seconds. It was under 5
Okay.
seconds.
Okay. So Pepe, let me hear a little bit about what you think about, as a Christian and even as a non-Christian, why is it bad to be alone, to be lonely?
Maybe it's one of the most particular feeling.
Oh.
I think it's deep, right? It's not easy to understand the loneliness,
Mm-hmm.
but when you are really alone, when you are really alone, you can understand many things about you, but you are unsatisfied at the same time. Maybe I don't know how to explain that, but there are two ways to be alone, right? In a positive way, to be with yourself, but not with God, and that's not That's not funny. That's I lived in that loneliness for many years. Well, not many if I see my life today, but in that in that past moment, I feel that loneliness. So it was I don't know. It was a bad sensation, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you, but it's a feeling that I didn't understand so until I met Jesus,
Oh.
because I didn't know the difference, right? But when I know who was Jesus or who is him, I understand that in that moment I was alone.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, can I give myself understand?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
absolutely. Yep. Very good. I like that. It's a good answer. John, let me ask you this. In that moment, Adam had the presence of the Lord, right? In creation. So this is obviously maybe specifically not talking about a spiritual need, but maybe a physical. Correct me if I'm wrong. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah,
Be-
absolutely. I can see that. I mean, God had him name every single animal, right? And so he saw that every animal had a pair. He saw that every animal had either a pair or the ability to continue itself and its genetics in some way, right? In its self-contained way, because there's worms that can asexually reproduce, right? But he saw that they continued and that there was more than just them, right? They had children, they continued their bloodlines, and so I'm sure that that was something that he yearned for. I'm sure that was something he wanted. He wanted to have children. He wanted to probably show the love that Christ had been showing him consistently, right? Because
Mhm.
if you only receive love, then it's life kind of sucks, right? Like you have to give it too in order for life to truly be as beautiful and magnificent as it's supposed to be.
Mm. Good answer. By the way, you're cutting off a little bit. You may want to maybe exit and come back in. We may be low to you there, but that's a good answer. And I heard it. Could you guys hear him, Adrian? Were you able to hear him? What he was explaining? I
About
did.
like 80%.
Okay, I could understand him, and I think he's got a really good point, right? Of even to it's a promise that God made to Abraham, right? Go, you're going to be the father of all nations, right? It's kind of part of creation in itself, but that's pretty neat. Speaking about friendship, though, I like to focus a little bit on the fact that God saw the necessity of Adam to not be solo, right? To not be um, by himself doing all these tasks, and whenever whenever Eve comes into play, right away. It doesn't come in as well. It does, but I was gonna say not as a spouse, but it does because that's kind of what happens. But the fact that they're there for each other is more than just um kind of like this contractual thing. Is more of a it's a hole that has been filled. I feel like, and I think that's a pretty big deal. And that's pretty cool. So we kind of want to start with this, guys, to see how this the lack of friendship or the emptiness of being alone and the loneliness is a problem that God Himself found quite early into His creation. He saw a need for it and He fixed it, right? And so
You
that's pretty dope. Hmm?
you mean in Adam's creation?
And sorry, and God, no, in God's creation. Whenever He created Adam, yes, correct.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yes, yes, yes.
I misunderstood. I misunderstood.
Yes. Yes. Good point. Good point. I don't know if I was going the wrong direction there, but absolutely.
You're good.
So that's kind of what we want to start, guys, for you guys to understand that even before sin, I think this is the big important thing to get right. This happened before sin, guys, and God saw that this was there was a need in His creation as Adam, right? There was a need. It was not complete. He needed somebody so that way he wouldn't be alone, and that's a big deal. So just know that even before sin, God knew that we cannot be alone, and that's a big deal, I think. So are we good here, guys? Can we move on to our next little Bible verses and stuff?
Oh yeah. Mhm.
Let's
Yep.
do it. Let's do it. Proverbs. You sound a lot better, by the way, John. Let's go to
Great.
Proverbs, chapter 18. By the way, guys, for the next few Bible Talk episodes, we're gonna read so much Proverbs. So I highly encourage you guys to, whenever you can, read this book. It's an unbelievably amazing book. It talks about a lot of stuff. There's a lot of wisdom in this book, but I do believe that you could almost tell that Proverbs is the guide to friendship. It's like it's a good book for you to kind of grab a hold on to and understand, and how, if you try to figure out how to have friends, this is the way. So this is the
This is the
way.
way.
This is the way. So okay, chapter 18, verse 1, and verse 2, please.
Okay. An unfriendly person pursues selfish ends, and against all sound judgments starts quarrels. Fools find no pleasure in understanding, but delight in airing their own opinions.
What translation are you reading, John?
Probably ESV. Oh,
Okay,
NIV.
ESV. Okay. Let me do a little American Standard Version. He that separated himself seeks his own desire and raged against all sound wisdom. A fool has no delight in understanding, but only that his heart may reveal itself. AI, this is an interesting time in the Bible, because we're in the smack middle of like the Old Testament, right? Proverbs and Psalms. And we got the kings, right? The kings like David and Saul, and all that kind of like new kingdom era for Israel. Why don't you give us a little bit of a context on what's happening, and also what's the deal with David writing majority of this stuff? Like what's behind him and whatnot, because it's important for us to kind of get this.
So the book of Proverbs and Psalms is two books that is actually shared by different authors.
Yes.
There, a lot of it is primarily written by King David, who is kind of the Jewish hierarch. Like he's like the big deal. He's not like the founding father, but he's like, I don't know, like I guess in American history, like Abraham Lincoln, that sort of thing. What's like during David's rule, there was a lot of spiritual flourish within the kingdom. There was a lot of spirituality. The kingdom of Israel was thriving under the rule of David, and it was rather powerful at the time too. But Proverbs is kind of a little before, a little after David. It's basically a collection of sayings from early Judeo-Christian prophets, right? Prophets, that the prophets had said to the people of Israel. Mainly, it was written during times of lament, or like whenever they were in exile, or it's just kind of like a forewarning. Like even like some proverbs are written like when they're in good standing, but like, hey, like be careful, like because what you're doing right now is going to lead you astray, or is going to lead you, is going to allow you to fall off, from God's good graces, that sort of thing. So it's very much the Jewish people. They've already established their nation, but sometimes their nation can be a little, it's not always stable. And so the book of Proverbs is mainly that. It's a collection of prophetic messages from different prophets, starting from like Elisha all the way to I don't know, like all it's all the prophets.
Isaiah, yeah,
Yeah,
it's a pretty
Isaiah.
big deal.
It's all the prophets, pretty much leading up until the time of Jesus.
And so I think an important thing to notice too about this is the way that they're written is very interesting. If you can tell versus other, like if you open up your Bible, it's written in a paragraph form that is different than any other books, and that is because it's almost like poetry or songwriting, or this kind of form of almost like art in written form. It's not your typical storytelling historical book like the New Testament books, right? That tell you what's been happening and things like that. These are more of a, okay, this is how my heart situation is right now. This is how I feel. Let's talk about it. And that's a pretty good thing. Now, I love this kind of Bible verses because, it speaks about the problem of being alone. And I'm going to go back to you, Adrian. Can you think of some times that maybe even King David felt alone? Can you think on top of your head, maybe a few of the times that he was alone and he was maybe not in good shape? Putting you on the spot.
Oh, hands down. In fact, in the really awesome book, we talk about David. But no, so we talk about like how he was chosen at an early age to lead the people, to be God's instrument. I mean, this is King David, right? Like I said, like the Abraham Lincoln, he's a big honcho in Judeo-Christian history, not just as a king, but this is the same David who fought Goliath. This was the same David who established basically the boundaries of Israel and established like the land almost of Israel today. So it's so for David, right? If you look at his history from a human standpoint, not from a spiritual Bible standpoint, right? So he's done all these amazing things. He's written a lot of the Proverbs. He's made a lot of Psalms. He's written songs. This is the same David who like we hear in Hallelujah by Leonard Cohen, right? I heard there was a sacred chord that David played, right? The same David. So he's written songs. He's been a leader. He's been a king, and at late age, right? He's in his probably like 50s. He kind of does like a man thing. Like I don't want to be a generalist here, but like at 50 years old, kind of like a middle-age crisis. He kind of realizes that he's been doing all these things for God, and yet he's been receiving blessings and all that stuff. But then he starts to kind of question, kind of like not like doubt God, but he's like, you know what, like I wonder if as a king, if I can flex, right? And he flexed really hard with a woman named Bathsheba.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And so David, in his kingliness and everything God has showered onto him, being a king, conquering, other people, the enemies of the Israelites and all that stuff. And yet, like, he was feeling lonely, saw a good looking girl and was like, hey. And it kind of was, it was almost the beginning of the end for David when he saw Bathsheba.
Yep. Troubling times for him. Listen, man, and I'm going to you here, John, in a second. There's quite a few times where David was in a deep hole. Number one, I can't remember that one time that he was playing the harp for King Saul, right? Try to calm him down, and the guy goes nuts and throws an arrow or a spike right to him, and he had to run. By the way, his best friend Jonathan, speaking of friendships, he kind of, David is trying to think whether he can come back or not, and Jonathan goes out with a bow and arrow, and he tells him, bro, you need to run, go as far as the arrow goes. And there's a pretty cool example of what a good friendship is. By the way, we're not going to touch on that today, maybe at some point at another passage, and that's beyond the point. The thing is, not King David at that point, appointed president-elect King David, at that point he had to run, and he was afraid for his life, and he was solo, bro. He was hiding in caves, right? He was away from his family and stuff. So definitely. Now, John, I'm going to you because you have a really good point. These are the Proverbs of Solomon, of that lineage. Same issues, right? There's the same understanding. So expand on that, how this is not just particular to, this is not a particular problem to one person, to Adam, to David, or to Solomon. Is this applied to all of us? If so, how? Why? What we need to do about it? Being solo, separating ourselves for our own desire, which is what Proverbs
Oh.
said, right?
Oh, okay. All right. So whoever isolates himself seeks his own desire. He
Mhm,
breaks out against all sound judgment. The fool takes no pleasure in understanding, but only in expressing his opinion.
mhm.
So obviously, this is describing someone who has no interest in other people. He doesn't. He's completely selfish. He has no interest in how they feel, what they have to say, their opinions whatsoever. His only objective is to go out and say what he has to say, um, regardless of the consequences. A fool takes no pleasure in understanding, but only in expressing his opinion. That's pretty straightforward. He doesn't want to learn. He just wants to go out and speak. You know what I mean? And I've met tons of people that are like that, that just want to say stuff and they don't really, they're not there to learn. They're just to tell you things. You know what I mean? Like, hey, this is the way the world is, regardless of whether that's true or not. You know what I mean?
Setting aside religion, do you think this applies to anyone and everyone, John?
Yeah,
Wow.
absolutely.
Why?
Absolutely. If you're not willing to learn from other people, then there's a serious issue, right? Like if you're not even willing to listen to other people, then there's a serious issue there. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Obviously, we're supposed to be discerning, right? When we hear someone, oftentimes I hear people say, "Don't be biased," right? But I mean, no matter what, it's going to be a Christian thing. But um, as Christians, we are told to be biased, right, in everything that we do, right? And so when we go and interact with someone, we have a conversation with someone about anything, our objective is to be biased from a Christian, biblical, God-centered perspective. You know what I mean? That's our worldview. Worldview is to be biased. Um, and so that doesn't mean that you don't listen. That doesn't mean that you don't hear what they have to say, right? Obviously, your objective is still to have a relationship, listen for wisdom, right? If you can solve a problem or even teach them something, that's good to go. If you can't teach them something, then be quiet and just let them ramble, right? Don't ramble. Don't be the person that's quick to speak. You know what I mean? If you're quicker to listen than to speak, then there's a lot going for you in life, just
Good.
in that one principle.
Love it, love it. Pepe, I'm gonna go to you now. And this is, you let me know if I'm overstepping, and this is not something that you are okay to talking about. But I remember back whenever you were not a Christian. To be honest, dude, you were very popular kid. You were the kind of person who was out there, surrounded by people. People liked you. You were partying a lot. I remember clearly, and I remember almost being like, "Man, that's kind of like the popular guy, dude." And yet, you mentioned earlier that you were alone.
Alone. Yeah.
Can you do you mind expanding on that? Because I'm not quite sure that everybody understands what you mean by that, and I think that's kind of important to understand.
Yeah. Well, when you live when you live your life to comply to get okay with many people, you don't live for you and you don't have purpose, right? So you just what I live just for me and to be happy at the moment. And I understand that the life was be popular, but that feeling when you are popular and you are with many girls or many, you know, well, it's not nice for me to remember that, but for the it's okay because I like to remember my past because I'm really happy with my present, and that's great. Um, I think it was a miracle. So I don't know how to explain that feeling that you can be with many people, but you can be alone at the same time without focus, without purpose, without without
Is it
many.
is it fair to say that you were like empty, uh, almost like had no reason to be,
No,
no
yeah,
identity, right?
yeah,
You
yeah,
didn't know who you were, type of
yeah,
deal. That is
but
crazy to me, dude.
yeah. And since I met Jesus, I know why I am living. I have purpose. I have friends. Well, my friends in the past are still my best friends too, but I understand the meaning of friendship because I have friendship with God, and I feel love, and uh, I don't know how to explain that, but I was not. I am really happy to meet Jesus at that age because I understand the difference between be alone and with people and be satisfied and with purpose and be happy with myself and with many people at the same time, right?
I want to ask another question because I remember this very clearly. You had, and I'm sorry, guys, that I'm going to Pepe quite a bit here, but I think this is really good. If he doesn't mind, you had a really rough transition from your old self to your new self, and I was blown away to see how crazy of a difference it was. I remember this very clearly. I remember you getting kicked out of your house for becoming Christian. I also remember some really aggressive changes that you did in your household because your household was Catholic. So I remember what you did with some idols and things like that. I remember it was really radical. Let me ask you this. Do you feel like the moment that you gave up the other lifestyle that you had and became Christian and you felt immediate rejection, right? There was some immediate slap in the face type of deal. Did you feel like you went from a bad place to a worse place? Or you knew that this change was going to be good for you from the beginning? Because that's something that I feel like some people don't understand. You were persecuted right away. I mean, I remember you were getting hit on the face day one as Christian, something that I didn't. That's a different thing that from my standpoint. I don't know about you, I don't know about John, but I know you, and you were slap on day one. Did you feel like you were alone at that point, or it was a different
No,
kind of
no,
feeling? No.
never, no,
Okay.
never. Really, well, like a new Christian, I was really radical, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But at the past of the time, at the past of the years, I understand that it was not the best way, but I understand that it was necessary because I have I had that necessity in that moment because I was a really bad person. I am not really I don't know how to say I am not I am not proud. I am not proud of what was my life in that moment. So I live it. I lived all my life, and that's why that's why I change in that way. But today I am not so radical like I was in that moment because I understand many spiritual things right now.
Good.
Can I understand myself?
Yes, perfect. Kevin has a good question for you. Pepe, did any of your friends become Christians after seeing you become a Christian? Have you had that happen to you?
No,
Not yet.
no, not yet.
Okay.
Just one or two, but not really.
Okay.
No,
His
I
his
don't know
his
why.
well, your group of friends was a little bit on the extreme, man. Not gonna lie. Don't wanna
Yeah,
throw them out there, and I love them too because I know a lot of them. But they're the tough crowd, right? The tough one that we need to pray for.
yeah. But uh, I have I learned to love him or to love
Yes.
them like they are.
Wow.
Yeah, and my best one of my best friends is still my best friend. I met him when I was 5 years, and I love him a lot. and he loves me a lot. So we we I understand that he didn't understand. He doesn't understand. Sorry for my English.
You're
So,
fine. You're killing it. You're killing it. You're doing great. Don't
Yeah.
worry.
So I know that Jesus has a plan,
Mhm.
and God is love. So I don't question myself if he believes or not. I just love him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good.
So
I like
I
that. That's a good answer.
understand that in that last 2 years.
It's almost like you listened to our message last week, because last week that's what we're talking about. We're talking about authorities, and we're talking about how difficult sometimes it is to
Yeah.
obey the authority, especially like under the government that we're today and what's happening in the
Trump
US,
and
right?
Biden, right?
Yeah, exactly. And so we ended up talking about, hey, why are we even complaining about that whenever it is before all that we're supposed to do things that God tells us to do, one of which to love our neighbor, right? Like we love ourselves. That is one of the commandments that God has given us, right? To love God first and to love them. And that's before talking about what kind of person they are, what authority they come from, what political party they are, what we're supposed to love them. So it's really good thing that you just said that, because we should love them. In this particular case, now we're talking about friendship, no matter if they're Christian or not, no matter what religion they are, no matter what background they have, right? It is our responsibility to love them, and it seems that you found a way to do so, and that's pretty great. So that's awesome. Cool. Let's move on to our final verse that we're going to read for today. This is on Isaiah. So, John, I know that you're back online, which is happy. I know you've been having issues today.
Yeah.
Thank you for sticking around, man. It's good. Isaiah chapter 41,
41.
verse 8.
But you, Israel, my servant Jacob, whom I have chosen, the offspring of Abraham, my friend.
Ooh. This is the fear not passage, guys. For those of you guys who don't know, if you are ever in trouble sometimes and stuff, I highly recommend that you read Isaiah 41. The only reason why reading this verse is because of this. Because God is telling that Abraham is his friend, right? And that is super dope. So let's talk a little bit about that. Why would we want to be friends with God, for instance? Why is this important? And so on and so forth. Let me read some messages first here. Let's see what Kevin says. I know for Basti, your transformation was a great testimony of God can do to renew. Listen, and that's talking about Pepe, by the way, guys. I am on the same boat. To me, it's one of the I've seen few miracles in this life. He's definitely one of those. I know another really good friend of mine, Anele. So shout out to you, Anele. You're an amazing woman now. But Anele was also, I feel like, in that same. Pepe, you might have known Anele. Do you know Anele? Do you remember her? Or not? Maybe not.
She
He went up.
was friend of one of my cousin.
Yeah, right. Do
one of my
you so
cousins.
you know her, right? I feel like you and her were
Yeah,
very
yeah.
similar. We're very similar in your old ways. I feel like very, very similar. So
Yeah.
to me, you and her are unbelievable proof of how amazing our God is. You two are two of my friends that are
Testimonies.
just miracles that God has made in lives like that. So that's amazing. And my sister can attest of your testimony, which is really, really cool. And I as well. Not to be biased because I'm your friend, but most definitely you are, and you are also an incredible support system, and for me personally, and for my family, and for just around me, which is unbelievable. But that's neither here nor there. Let's talk about this a little bit. About this stuff. I added here a note here that says an additional example is Noah, who walked with God. By the way, the Hebrew expression of walk with God is to be friends with God. By the way, for those of you guys who don't know, that's what it means. And so Noah, Enoch, right, who didn't die, who God took to heaven, was walking with God. So there's quite a few examples of those in the Bible. But I want you guys to see how the actual word friend is being used here, right? 8, friend, Hebrews H157. and it means a hobby, which is to have affection for, and that could be even sexually or otherwise, to be loved, like, or friend, right? It encompass a whole. It's a big deal. It's not just, oh, we cool, we lit, we're friends and we chill. It's a meaningful friendship relationship. It's not just oh, I know the guy and we play video games together type of thing. This goes to, hey, I really like him. I have affection for that person. If you happen to be married, like I am, my wife was my friend, then I also have, sexually affection to her, right? And so that's pretty cool. The word here encompasses a much more deep meaning than just, okay, well, cool. So let's talk a little bit about that. Right, John was a good friend of Jesus, right? We heard that too, and not talking about you, John, but talking about Apostle John, and how he was the loved one, right? And all this stuff. But let's talk with you, John. Why would you want to be friends with Jesus? What's up with that, dude?
Why would you want to be friends with him?
Will you tell me?
You tell me.
I don't know. Yo, man, I'm the one doing the questions. Can I answer with a question back?
I don't.
That's not how this show works.
I don't see a lamp in your hand that you're shining at me intensely as you interrogate me,
bro. You signed a contract, where I ask the questions. Yeah, I don't know. It's there somewhere. I don't know.
Oh my gosh, that was the user agreement.
You didn't read the fine print, son.
I didn't.
That's what you get.
There was a suspicious amount of asterisks too, so But no, but for real, why wouldn't you want to be friends with God, right? So, like, even if you're atheist, let's go into, in your case, make believe land, right? There's this ultimate creator, this ultimate being that knows everything about everything, created you because he wanted to have a relationship with you, right? Then gave you free will, enabling you to choose him or not choose him, right? So you could be the best possible person you could be. Why wouldn't you want to be friends with that person? Why wouldn't you want to be friends with the person that knows you best in life? You know what I mean? Like, there's no logical reason to say no to that unless you just don't believe in God, in which case that's a whole other illogical thing. But a whole other thing. But yeah, like, why wouldn't you? I can't think of a single reason not to, and I believe in God, so of course I'm going to be friends with him.
Very good. Hey, I know that you're really good at this. If you were asked, as I did, you know what? I want to be friends with God. How can I be friends with him? And specifically, talk a little bit about relationship with him. Why don't you give us a couple of tips on how to strengthen a relationship with God? I want to be his friend. I want to be good friends with him. What do I do?
Well, if we go back to the previous verse that we read.
Oh, snappy.
Right.
Okay.
And Proverbs, was it 18?
Proverbs 18:1.
Right. So we talked about, like, to be a friend is to not look out for yourself, right? And to not bicker, and to find pleasure in understanding. And, like, so the two verses talk about, like, how to not be a friend. So if you do the opposite, right, then you think about how you become friends with anyone, right? You find out what you guys like, whether that's, tennis, whether that's Apex, whether that's, I don't know, Scrabble, like board games. I don't know, whatever it is that you bond with, and what you do as friends. Like, think about the friends that you have, or if you feel like you don't have any friends, what kind of friends you would want to have. Right. And I guarantee you 10 out of 10 dentists recommend that all you got to do is talk. Right. Just talk to God, talk to Jesus, as if you it might sound crazy. Right. Because if you feel like, you're in your house, you're in your car, and just be like, Jesus, I don't know if you're, like, there or not, but, like, I was told by some weird Filipino guy on a, gaming platform that I should just talk to you. So I'm just going to talk to you, and you just, like, talk, like, tell them about your day, tell them about what's troubling you, tell them what you're excited for, right? And I guarantee you that his response is already written down in the word, right, in the Bible. And sometimes you have to, and again, like, it's all about, like, call and response, right? So if you talk, right, and if you need help with something, it's best to be quiet so that way you can listen. Right. And so if you want to hear God talking back to you, then you have to be quiet, and you have to be open to what God has to say. right? And then that's how you build a relationship with God and with Jesus. So it's the same as any kind of relationship that you would normally have.
Wow. I like it. You made it much easier than I thought it would be. I love how you always explain it, contemporary to our days and not Bible days. So I appreciate that. John, I kind of would like to hear from you the biggest tip that you've learned that has helped you, especially specifically if you can actually talk about it recently throughout the last year, which is a difficult year for everybody. Give me one really good pointer that strengthened your relationship with God as your friend.
The friends that I keep.
Okay, how so?
Well, I was actually going to say this, right? Because Adrian was hitting at it a little bit, and it's something that I could have said before, which is a good reason to be friends with God is the people that you are friends with are the people that you become, right? And so surrounding yourself with people that are way beyond you in God, people that are way beyond you in life, just in general, they're going to bring you to wherever they're at. You're going to learn from things from them. They're going to give you advice, right? And so who you hang out with is who you become. If you hang out with 9 crackheads, you're going to be the 10th. You know what I mean? And so it goes both ways. That's my favorite analogy for this.
just because you got to bring drug addicts in.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
well,
good.
so I worked in door-to-door sales, and that was the thing my boss would say all the time. He was like, "Hey, if you hang out with 9 crackheads, you're going to be the 10th man." And he was just talking about like, "Hey, if you hang out with the guys who aren't selling a lot, you're going to be a guy who doesn't sell a lot." You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So, but yeah, does that answer your question? I feel like I rambled too much. Okay.
No, that's great. That's great. I want to bring here. This is my mom, by the way, guys, in Spanish, and I'll translate it to you guys. God called Abraham a friend because he had a heart willing to obey him. God does not await perfection, but obedience. Blessings to the four of you guys. Thanks, Mom. Appreciate it. You can say hi to my mom. Hi, Mom.
Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias. But she's got a really good point, right? And within that relationship, it's kind of difficult to have a good relationship when all you do is fight and disagree and dispute. I feel like that's how divorces happen. That's how friendships fall apart. And although it's healthy to have those kind of things happen, you have to have some kind of submission from one another, respect from one another. You got to be humble for each other. And it's natural and within any kind of relationship, but more importantly with this one, just because there's an additional benefit that is spiritual, more so that goes farther than just how I feel, but more so how my eternal being, my spiritual being is. And I feel like that's a big deal, right? And so that involves us, just like my mom said, to be obedient and to, I think Adrian nailed it, to listen and to talk to him directly. I'm not afraid to pray to him at all times for any reason, to whatever reason, and also shouldn't be afraid to go to the word and read his word all the time, and just kind of be ready to listen to him, right? Be ready to read and learn and kind of sit there and try to understand what he's saying through his word, which is a big deal. So always a relationship goes both ways. You can't do either one. You cannot just listen and not talk, and you cannot talk only but not listen, right? It's got to go both ways. So I think Adrian, you nail it there. But that's kind of it for this is kind of the intro to our friendship deal, guys. There's so much more coming at you. We're going to be talking about let's see, we're going to talk about a guide to a true friendship in Proverbs. We're going to talk about how deep a friendship can go. We're going to talk about the friendship in the gospel, which is a big deal. We're going to be talking about Jesus as our true friend, and how friendships bring joy. So there's a lot of stuff coming your way in the next coming weeks. I think this was a really good intro section. I don't know how you guys feel about this. I think this is great to understand that we're not or we shouldn't want to be alone, and that God found that very early in his creation, and he fixed it right away, and even before sin, which is a big deal. So that was pretty cool. And I'm happy that I get to do this with friends, which is even better, because that kind of helps. So why don't we go ahead and do some final thoughts for today? Hey, what are your final thoughts for today? And tell me, what are you looking forward about this series in the upcoming weeks?
So I'm very excited because we talk about friends just in general casually. And I'm going to be honest, I think this is the first time that I've ever actually taken the subject of friendship and looked at it from a biblical standpoint. So I'm very excited about that. And because, yeah, I mean, like I reference, Bible verses all the times for friends and stuff like that. But like, it's cool to kind of dive in and to kind of study it more intently. Speaking of transition into final thoughts of that's the one thing, if I could give my one tip, because I mean I don't know what your demographics are, leader, but I feel like the majority is probably young adults, right? So
Yep.
I know we've had a couple
For
of
sure.
teenagers come in, people like us in their 20s and 30s, especially in the gaming community. And one of the things that I learned, especially after graduating college and becoming a workplace adult, like doing normal adulting things, which is overrated, by the way. Like, whoever said adulting was like, I want to grow up so fast, like, bro, like, take your time, be a kid, enjoy life, because adulting is hard. But anyways, the biggest lesson I learned in forming adult friendships is being intentional, right? And that's not just, we talked about like listening, like talk less, listen more, that thing, but also just like be intentional. Just because like in the four of us here, like I consider a Pepe a friend now because we spent the last hour together. But like even in my relationship with leader, right? Like we might not text every day. Sometimes Bible talk is the only time that we ever get to like chit chat. But like if it's his birthday or each other's birthdays, or like when he wasn't well last year, like we as a group, as friends, like we were very intentional, not just in thinking about him, but like praying for him, reaching out, texts, phone calls. Like sometimes you got to open the hand first in order to receive, right? Like you cannot receive anything with a closed fist. You got to open your hand first. And so for all the listeners out there, that's just my number one tip in starting friendships with anyone, but especially if you want a relationship with Jesus and God, is to be intentional about it.
Boom. Haha, mic drop. John, final thoughts. What are you looking forward in this series? What's up, man?
Hold on.
He has to look at his notes.
Yes.
I'm writing my notes as we speak because my brain like couldn't come up with anything. So I was like, I have to write it down so that my brain can focus on it. So actually something Adrian said, I'm gonna piggyback off that a little bit. God is intentional with us, right? He intentionally reaches out to us, right? And that's pivotal in our lives, right? And Jesus loves us. He reaches out to us. He wants to help us through our brokenness, but he is here. Yeah. Sorry, my notes are terrible because I like revise it like 1,000 times and I didn't fix it. I don't have enough time. Thanks, leader.
You're welcome.
But yeah, I mean, no matter what, Jesus is intentionally reaching out to every one of us, right? Because he sees the brokenness that we have in our lives and he wants us to get through that. He wants to have a relationship with us, and he wants to show us how to show love to others so that we can go out and reach out to others and share the gospel and make disciples and be friends with everyone else we meet, regardless of how they interact with us.
Bam. Guys, John is about to ping us on Discord. We're about to jump in there. I'm about to go to Pepe last because he's our guest today. But in the meantime, John is pinging you guys over there. We're about to jump over there to pray for each other, have a little chill time with each other, talk to one another and love on each other. So just know that that's coming. It's coming your way. Make sure to get over there. I'm going to post the link here real quick to make sure. Where is it? Boom, boom, boom. Discord link. So you just you're gonna click on this link. If you don't have an account, just create it and then join up, and we'll be over there praying. Oh, it posted as a moderator verified Streamlab message, which is fine. Just join in there, and we'll see you there shortly. Pepe, you're last. Save you for last, man. First and foremost, thank you for coming today, right? Thank you for joining me and in this trip. I hope you had a good time. We hope to see you back. But why don't you give us a final thoughts on why don't you give us some final thoughts on the friendship? And I think you've mentioned Jesus as your friend and how big it made a difference for you. Why don't you give us your final thoughts and something that the audience will like to learn from you about friendship?
At first, congratulations to be persistent for many chapters doing that.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that's true. We haven't lost it yet. That's good.
Yeah, it's more than half of a year.
Yep.
So
Yes.
that's awesome. So congratulations. And answers your question. I am not words because I have not words because Adrian and John say what I want to say.
No, I'm so sorry.
That's not how it works. You have to say something. You're on the
Yeah.
spot, Pepe.
So, friendship, it's something special, but I am accord with Adrian and John. You have to be intentional, and friendship is without expecting something in a change, right? So
Good.
when you give without expecting something, you can be enjoy the friendship. It's
There you
like
go.
Jesus. Jesus loves us without expecting something. So that's the way that we can enjoy the really friendship, because
Oh.
we are humans and we are always falling down, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's our way to live, falling down, and I don't know how to say, fallándole a la gente,
Failing people,
failing
right?
people. So
Falling
if I
short of their
expect,
eyes.
yeah, if I expect that you or many of my friends don't filling me up, I will don't, I won't, I won't enjoy the friendship.
Mm.
So that's the key, I think, like Jesus.
And that's a really good cue, Pepe, because we'll be talking about in the upcoming weeks on how this friendship is more than a contract; it's a covenant. It's actually going to be one of our topics of conversation. Where, who knows, you may have to give, and not receive very much, right? And sometimes you receive, and then you don't give much. It's kind of different. It's not. It's interesting. So we'll talk about that. So it's a perfect segue into that. Pepe, it was a pleasure having you over. You're more than welcome back whenever you want to. But thank you so much for being with us this episode number 34. Now you're 34 on the back of your jersey. Remember that. It's your number from now on soccer. And guys, thank you guys so much for being here today. Again, jump on Discord. We're gonna be right there in 2 minutes. They're gonna join right away. John will be there right away. Travis is probably already there. We love you guys so much. And we can't wait to see you next Wednesday, God permitting, 9 p.m. Central. Friendship Part 2. See you guys then.
Thank you.